Why sleeping 6 hours destroys your gains and how to fix it. Let's go. So there's been a really interesting study, and according to that study, there were two study groups. One of the groups basically went to sleep for just 5.5 hours, and one of them basically went to sleep for 8.5 hours. The results are really, really, really interesting. So the first group, who basically went to sleep for 5.5 hours, lost 55% less fat and lost 60% more muscle, which means that the group basically couldn't lose enough fat than the group who basically went to sleep for 8.5 hours did. And the second group basically lost 55% more fat and preserved 60% more muscle. So, in the bodybuilding scene, there's this myth where the bodybuilders say, oh, sleep is not that important. Well, I mean, they say this stuff, but in the same time, they're taking growth hormones, all that PEDs, steroids, and all that shit. So, you as a natural bodybuilder, you as a normal human being who is working, who is doing also other stuff, and who also would like to prioritize the muscle building stuff, you basically have to, if if you would like to see some good results, you have to at least sleep 8.5 hours. I mean, does it have to be like 8.5 hours? Absolutely no. You can also go for 8 hours, almost the same results. But the point is, if you're always sleeping 6 hours, 6.5 hours, 5 hours, 5.5 hours, for the long term, you're just gonna lose your gains. That's the fact. And if you're asking me about your the study, like where did I take this, you can just go search on Google Scholar because I will not put any study links. There are many, many, plenty of studies. I mean, if you would like to read some boring stuff, which I did, you can just go and write to Google Scholar because it's really long. Why more sleep is better? Well, during deep sleep, the body releases growth hormone, which is really essential for muscle repair and growth. Secondly, it enhances protein synthesis, which is allowing muscles to recover and grow after workouts. And thirdly, less cortisol levels. So, cortisol basically is stress hormone, and if you have less cortisol in your body, then you're gonna build more muscle because cortisol is suppressing testosterone in the body. So, if you have less cortisol, you're gonna have automatically more testosterone, and therefore you're gonna build more muscle. And what about less sleep? What are the results of less sleep, just like we mentioned, just like I mentioned in the previous page? So basically, firstly, reduced testosterone levels, which is less muscle building potential. Secondly, weaker performance in the gym, which means lower energy, poor recovery, and increased injury risk. And the third one is increased hunger cravings, which is really bad. So poor sleep disrupts hunger hormones, especially ghrelin and leptin, leading to overeating and fat gain. So it's more like not a direct impact, but still, you know, you get more hunger cravings and therefore you eat more and then you gain more fat. Solution. So what is the solution? How to improve your sleep for maximum gains? Well, stick to a sleep schedule. Go to bed and wake up at the same time daily. At least try it. If you go to bed at 11, go next day at 11:30. Don't go at 1 a.m. or something. Limit blue light exposure. So avoid screens from 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Don't look at your phone, don't look at the computer, don't look at the TV. Just 1 hour or 30 minutes before bed, just don't look at any screens. Optimize your sleep environment, which means keep your room cool, dark, and quiet, and avoid caffeine late in the day. I can say this. I used to go to workouts really late, and I used to consume pre-workouts, and man, I just couldn't sleep. I just couldn't fall asleep in that day. Although I used to take some melatonin, so just cut off caffeine intake 6 to 8 hours before bedtime. If you're using some pre-workout, use it in the morning because then at night you're just gonna have some difficulties to fall asleep. And the last one is have a pre-sleep routine. It can be stretching. Stretching really helps with, losing stress and basically getting more ready to bed, to sleep. Reading, you can read a book in a really, really low light, or meditation can help relax your body. I personally don't do the meditation stuff before I go to sleep, but I would definitely recommend stretching. and also reading helps. So some extra tips will be using earplugs if you have a noisy environment, and using sleep mask if you don't have curtains. So if you basically have sunlight in the morning, which is hitting your face right when you just wake up, you can just use a sleep mask. You can just buy it from Amazon. It's pretty cheap, so you won't get the sun burning effect on your face when you just wake up. Use your phone's blue light filter at night. Definitely just use it. It's pretty simple. All the smartphones have the feature. And lastly, if you would need some supplements, you can take melatonin. Usually I would recommend 0.5 milligrams. You can also take magnesium, zinc, and vitamin B6. They all help for the sleep. So there is a combination. Usually if you find an ashwagandha supplement, the ashwagandha supplements are usually combined with magnesium, zinc, and vitamin B6 in the same time, so that your cortisol levels drop and you're just getting ready for the sleep. So you can just try melatonin. If it doesn't work, then you can also have some magnesium and zinc supplementation. If you want real muscle growth, prioritize your sleep, just like your workouts and diet. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is really important. I had this struggle before where I used to sleep really less, and then I felt really bad the next day when I wake up. Really less energy. Definitely it impacts. It has a really huge impact on the workouts if you would like to get stronger and also progressively overload. So that's it for today. Subscribe for more no BS muscle building tips. Stay sharp and see you in the next one.